Hi, this is Ray from Travels with Miranda. It is laundry day on the prairie today. I am just catching up while I have full hookups. One of the biggest questions that I get is, do you actually use your Wonder Wash hand crank washing machine that you rave about all the time, or are you just getting commissions from selling them? The answer is I don't make any money from somebody buying Wonder Wash. I just really think it's a great product and I use it all the time. So here is my Wonder Wash in the shower. I have already done 4 loads of laundry today, so I am running out of drying space, but I thought I would just quickly show you how the Wonder Wash works in terms of how much soap to use and things like that. Really the only disadvantage to this product is that you need a water source. So if you're at a campground and you don't mind hauling water if you've got it, or if you're on full hookups, it's even better. Unfortunately, when you don't have a lot of access to water, then you are going to want to go to a laundromat. And then the other limitation is how much you can dry. Like most campgrounds, I'm not allowed to dry outside here. So I've basically got clothes hanging everywhere in the rig. So let's look at exactly how much soap and kind of how you do it with the Wonder Wash. So here is my big container of detergent, and here is the standard little measuring cup that they use. Now, half of this is probably what you should be using in a washing machine. The manufacturers always suggest that you use too much so that you'll buy more. So in the Wonder Wash, I recommend never using more than about a teaspoon of detergent. Otherwise it just suds and you end up rinsing all the time, and it just you're using more water than you need to. It's the same thing as when you do dishes. It's not the suds that matter. It's really the heat of the water and just pushing the dirt through the clothes. So I'm just going to put like a little squirt of this detergent in, and that's really all you need. I mean, that might actually be a little bit too much. I might not even put all of that in. So what I do is I put it into the machine, and actually right now I've got some water in there, and I'm actually going to dump that out because I just did all my dishcloths and they were soaking in bleach. So I gave the machine a really good rinse, and now I'm going to be putting my jeans in there. So a little bit of detergent goes in. As I said, I didn't put the whole thing in. And then what I do is I like to add just a little bit of water to start the sudsing process, and then after that I add the clothes. So this is why I like using the shower. It keeps everything containerized. I mean, of course I'm on my knees right now, but it's just so much less messy than doing it in the kitchen. So that's just enough, just to say that you're not putting the clothes in with the full strength soap or bleach if you use bleach. Just basically like when you use a regular powered washing machine. So I've already done all the small clothes today, like the underwear and shirts and things like that. Actually, if you look through the back there, you can see there's lots of clothes hanging. So I'm actually at my pile of denim, and I'm actually just going to wash my big denim skirt that I wear. It's practically my uniform. So that will be a load unto itself. In terms of smaller clothing, I can usually put in, a week's worth of tops and underwear and, including socks, and it'll all fit in there. I could actually probably put in the skirt plus a pair of jeans in here, but I have plenty of water here, and I figure why kind of overload it, and you got to spin it longer and whatnot. So then after that, the next step is you want to fill the machine completely with water. Ideally you want to use hot water. It just makes the machine work better. If you use cold water, it'll work fine, but you are going to have to crank a lot longer. So I'm just going to turn the machine off right now, and I'll let it fill up with water. So now the Wonder Wash is filled with water, as you can see. So what I do now is I put the lid on, and this is actually what makes the Wonder Wash different than just using, I don't know, a regular bucket that you find at the hardware store or something. This lid will actually pressurize the contents, and it'll force the water through the clothes. And of course I'm doing this one-handed right now. It's not actually that difficult. You got to make sure that this lid actually kind of fits on really well. And yeah, let me just do it two-handed, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now the lid is on really tight, and then you use this knob here, and that's what actually pressurizes the drum. And you want to make that as tight as you possibly can. And that's just about it. And then you add the little crank handle to the side, and then you have to crank it for about a minute and a half. So I'm not actually going to film for a minute and a half. I will be right back. So I'm just about done with my minute and a half. I like to go backwards and then go forwards. I don't know if that really makes a difference, but it just makes me feel like I'm giving it an extra shake. So the next step is you're going to remove your lid. And it's going to be on pretty tight because of the pressure in there. And the more if you use hot water, it's actually going to pressurize a lot more than if you use cold water. So you can just hear it hissing there, and then it comes loose. And you look inside, all those beautiful suds. Now, the Wonder Wash comes with this little spout thing that you put in the bottom. And technically, if you put it in, and then the water will actually come out through that way. But I actually find that it actually doesn't work that well. The clothes just basically block the drain. I just prefer to just upend my machine and then drain it this way. And to me, that's just a lot quicker. So I just give it a shake, and then I give it a shake also while it's doing that. And that kind of gets rid of a lot of the suds at the same time. So I'm just going to finish draining that, and I'll be back and show you about rinsing and wringing and all that. So now I've taken the skirt out of the machine, and I'll just show you the water at the bottom. You can see it's definitely not clear water. It really did get a lot of the dirt out. So I'm just going to get that dumped out. Now for rinsing, I've done it a number of different ways in the past. I used to just put the clothes back in with clear water, and I would just run the clothes until the water ran clear. And that works fine, but I find if I've got a big heavy piece like this, it's just much more efficient. I just grab the shower head and I just re-soak it until the suds all disappear. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I just kind of just soak it until the water runs clear and I don't see any more soap suds. So once it's rinsed out and the water's running clear and everything, you're done. The heavier the clothing, the harder it is, obviously, and the more you've got to rinse. For rinsing, I actually prefer cold water, or at least cool. It actually doesn't sud as well, so you actually get rid of the suds a lot more quickly. So now what's left is to wring it out and hang it out to dry. Ideally, you're going to want to have a spin dryer. I've talked about those on the blog and on Squidoo. I don't have one. They tend to be back ordered, and when I get the money for them, you know, they're not available, and then when they are available, it's just not the right time. I've borrowed Donna, Life on Our Arcs, spin dryer a number of times. That's definitely something that I want to buy. They're really not that, they don't use that much energy. It makes it a lot easier. So I'm actually not really going to do much with this. I'm just actually going to hang it to dry, let it drip, and it'll be fine. Of course, with lighter weight clothing, you know, you're just wring it out, and yeah, it'll drip for a few days, depending on how humid it is outside, but it will eventually dry. The spin dryer really does cut things in half. So one of the things that I've done to kind of speed up the drying time, since I don't have the spin dryer to cut down on a lot of the wetness, is I've got all the window hatches open, the windows, there's a good breeze going through here, and then I rotate the clothes around. As exterior pieces kind of get drier, I move them out of the way and let everything else dry. I kind of go by once in a while, and if I see a big wet spot, I pulled, you know, some extra moisture out of it. Obviously, this isn't for everybody. I really do think the spin dryer cuts, you know, the job. It really cuts all the work out, and also being able to dry outside cuts a lot of the work out. But I still think that I prefer doing this to actually going to a laundromat. I'm at home. I literally do a load in about 10 minutes, which really beats traipsing out to the laundromat and watching the time and fitting quarters into the machine and all that. So thank you very much for listening, and I will see you on the blog.